Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Radical Roots Podcast, Progress Through Action, where we reach deep to take you higher. I am your co-host, Payron Baxter, and we're both a little sick today. I'm just getting better. Rom, how are you feeling? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Radical Roots Podcast, Progress Through Action, where we reach deep. Oh, I hear myself. You do it again? Okay. Yeah, no, I could not keep on going this week. I was sick from Sunday to about 2 o'clock today. I had fevers, chills, and from Sunday to Monday, man, I was in bed for like 27 hours. Like I did not get out of bed. I think when I got out of bed to go to the bathroom like twice, and I like crawled to the bathroom, but it was miserable. I was locked away in our one of our guest bedrooms, and it was terrible. It was terrible. So I think I lost about maybe 7 pounds. So your boys out here flexing. So ladies, come holler. Yes, I am married. Don't you worry. But I'm still sick as well. You like that? No, but it's been a rough week for your boy. And I'm glad to be at least in good spirits. And hopefully you are on the mend soon, my friend, as well. Yeah, and I think too, like the whole idea of like it wasn't them, it was I'm the superintendent. Is we have to understand this whole movement that we're experiencing is they're trying to make one democracy, of course, unattainable, right? Hence the voter suppression and blah blah blah. But they're also trying to make democracy foreign to people. People being educated and raising their voices, whether it be in community places, whether it be in politics, whether it be in a corporatized workplace, excuse me, a democratized workplace. They're trying to make it almost foreign so people don't have the muscle built up to say, hey, no, I deserve better. We deserve better. Let me talk to you, Jim, after our work meeting. Let me talk to you, so and so, after the county convention. And that is also a part of it, right? It's the separation of people from their feelings, right, and being able to articulate them. And I think that's a telltale sign of it. You got to cough a little harder than that, bro. You can't be just, you got to go. You got to, oh yeah, oh yeah. Got to get that white nationalist out. The good old coin flip Burns, coin flip Burns. Yeah, yeah. And it's funny. It's very similar to how Trump won by 1.4 percentage points, but he's like, "Oh, we got this mandate. We're mandated." Robert Burns is acting like he had a mandate. It was the exact same number between him and his opponent, and they had to go to a coin flip. So at a certain point, it's like, bruh, you are not popular. You are not what the majority wanted. It had to come down to a schoolyard game. So yeah, we got to get him out of there. Got to get him out of there because he is not progress through action. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's more like as someone said on the call today that we had our precinct and county convention call today about like it sets the precedent for trying to do it again, and like once they know, okay, people will not tolerate this, but they will tolerate that, and whatever we can get, because none of this should be legal. But as I try to remind people, all American laws, white man's laws. So I'm not shocked when things happen. Again, this is the same court system that said, that Carolyn Bryant could go free after, saying that Emmett Till whistled at her to be murdered. It's the same legal system that will, free Daniel Penny. This is the same legal system that says Donald Trump can become president. So we have to be realistic as of January 16, 2025, and what legal system we're working within, and realize they're exercising not politics, but they're exercising power. And we have to be willing to exercise our power to say we must resist that. And who is the we? That's why I was go back to. It's very important for us to do that deep dive introspection because a lot of folks aren't doing that, Ron. A lot of folks are just like, oh well, I just want to get going. It's like, but get going to do what? Because at the end of the day, yes, we can share the information, but if we're not talking to people, that why are you even supporting Republicans that are doing this? Why are you supporting the party that doesn't want everybody to vote? Why are you supporting the party that doesn't want to do these things that will enhance your life? Why are you supporting the party that wants to harm the lives of other people? Because that all falls in line with that. And if we're just having this left versus right versus instead of a top versus down conversation, then we're not having the real conversation and we're not having that class consciousness conversation which so many have been talking about over the past couple of weeks. Sure. You ready? Oh yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. 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 Correct. It's done. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is an odd time of year for this to happen because it's not fire season for them right now. And this is again, I don't mean to cut you off, but we have to your point about the understanding the conditions that we're in and why these things are happening. I saw a clip of your favorite person, Joe Rogan, and he was I think farting out some ideas with some other comedians about the wildfires, and they was like he's like this stuff is because of the homeless people. They're outside. They set those fires in the cans, and that's why it's happening. Then like someone paraglided over, and it's like, no, man, that's not why this is happening. And it's not why homeless people isn't why there's been 9 months of no rain. Homeless people isn't why there's 100-mile-an-hour winds in January to carry that, right? Like, and that is to your point, the systemic problem. That is the getting to the root of the problem. But the folks that needed the folks that needed to know have been known, and that's the fossil fuel industry. They were aware of this back in the 1970s. They knew, they buried this information. There are white papers about it. They had lobbyists to help sink this to the bottom of the earth, and they had spin artists. I don't know if you get another gentleman named Frank Luntz. He is a prized Republican strategist. I say propagandist. He came up with the phrase global warming instead of climate change. So he's tried to make it more softer, where it's just warming a little bit, just a little bit warmer, a little bit warmer. Um, and so not only did the politicians know, and then the Republicans that, oh, we don't believe in climate change. That's all a ruse. That's all for their base, who already are disbelieving of government, who are already disbelieving of science, who are already disbelieving of experts. So that's for that. But then also on top of that, Joe Rogan is also running cover for the oligarch class. We got to talk about it. It also comes down to income indisparity, right? Because those same Exxon and other exploitative, what's the word? Exploitative companies like them who cause all this carbon emissions due to them extracting all this stuff out of the ground. He's running cover for them because he's going to blame the poor people. And this is a phrase called eco-fascism, where there are climate-related issues to our ecology, but instead of blaming the systems that are putting them at jeopardy, you're going to blame a marginalized group. You're going to blame the poor. You're going to blame the blacks, the DEI, right? You're going to blame the immigrants coming over. That's what's making it hotter. That it's easier to blame that if you're already predisposed to listening to a Joe Rogan, to listening to a Donald Trump, to listening to your Uncle Rod. It's going to be easier to accept and saying, you know what, the folks that are forcing me to go to work and get paid 7.25 an hour and to put gas in my car at $5 a gallon. That's why those fires are raging in January in California. And it's a lot easier for them to accept instead of the actual systems that they need to dismantle. The fire chief, who's a lesbian. It's got to be the lesbians. Yeah. Yeah, we got to keep our eye on the story because a lot of folks are hurting. And I think even folks like Octavia, but I'm reading right now the parable of the sower. It was going around. Everybody's like parable of the sower, parable of the sower, parable of the sower. Octavia Butler. Do you know about this? Octavia Butler, one of the premier, most famous Black Afrofuturist writers and poets. She wrote a book in 1993 called The Parable of the Sower, and it was about uh, fires in Altadena, California, and Palisades in the year God, 2025. And it was coming off the heels of a contentious election in 2024. It was written in 1993, my friend. And it's coming off a contentious election in the 2024 election, who the candidate whose last name was Donner, whose slogan was "Get this, get this." What do you think his slogan was? It was "Make America Great Again." And this book breaks down, really eco-terrorism and how the a lot of us who are disenfranchised have to suffer through. A lot of times people say, "Oh, Rome's gonna, Rome burned and blah blah blah," and how Caesar. But we never talk about the people who had to survive on the ground that were not senators. Like when Rome fell, what about the people? And this story really talks about the day to day and folks having to survive and make do and make common cause with people they may not have been in community with. But it's a harrowing tale. It's a novel. It's a two-part tale. Parable of the Sower and then Parable of the Talents. I look forward to reading that next. But yeah, Oh yes, 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 yeah. Black and white. They won't be now. They knew and they pulled out. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. What else we got? Ooh, it was Martin Luther King Day, I think, as well. King Day. That's right. I'm off work. I'm just gonna be just Martin Luther Kinging it up. Hmm. Yeah. No. All right. All good.
Put this mic on. All right. So apparently you couldn't hear me this whole time. Well,
Couldn't
that's
hear you
yeah.
the whole time?
Apparently. So let's see here. It just gets a delay. All right. So let me just test this out here. Oh, that's no good.
You want to try to, I mean, is it try
Yeah,
to
we
get
got it. We're
arm?
good now.
Okay.
However, you might have echo, but so unfortunately, you couldn't hear me this whole time. So we heard you. So we'll have clips with you.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah.
Folks, we're still trying to work out the bugs. Oh my goodness.
So, anyways, well, I'll pick it up with the Michelle Obama. So
Hi, Rob.
the inauguration is this week, and we have Trump's going to. I mean, Obama's going to be attending. Biden is going to be here attending. Bush, if you recall, 4 years ago, they weren't. Trump did not attend. His family did not attend Biden's inauguration. Michelle Obama has announced that she's going to be skipping the inauguration. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good thing, as we are in this tailspin into this bloated, disgusting, horrendous uh, incoming administration. I think Michelle Obama is making a point that at a certain point you got to say all the theater of the settler colonial project is just that. And her legacy that her and her husband have built over the past, what, going on 20 years in the public eye for everyone. This man has made, we forget, Trump made his bones on what? Birtherism, right? This man made his political bones in the Republican Party on birtherism, not when he ran, but when Mitt Romney was running. Mitt Romney embraced Donald Trump and his lies of Obama needs to show his long form birth certificate. And Obama did that. And it breaks my heart to this day. To this day, it breaks my heart that Obama still had to go prove to him that he was American. So Michelle Obama says, you know what? After all of this, y'all can have it. Y'all have made your political purchase by calling her a man, calling her Mike, all these things like that, dehumanizing her, demonizing her.
saying that how dare she try to make our kids healthy. We don't want to eat no radishes. Turn up for what? How dare she? But Trump's up here talking about, he's eating a Big Mac with a Coke and all. It's ridiculous. So I think we should take a page out of Michelle Obama's book and to understand that we do not have to, just because we were born here, does not mean you have to accept the conditions that you're in. That's what they want you to do. That's what the Republicans in this entire project has been doing since they landed on Turtle Island, when your ancestors were here, before my ancestors were brought over here. Right? So it's like there's a level of like, she's like, you know what? If y'all want this funky machine to do all this, y'all have at it. But you won't have my beautiful black face sitting behind Donald Trump as he puts his hand on his $60 Trump Bible, made in China, his USA Bible, made in China. You're not gonna have her sitting there. And I think again, a lot of the women of the 92%, I say all 2025, I'm taking my cues from Michelle Obama. And she said on the stage at the DNC, why would we normalize such backward thinking? Why would we? And a lot of people are saying, well, it's a funeral, it's an inauguration. That's you still believing the lie. A lie that isn't built upon reality. It's all built off myth. It's if you believe the myth. And Michelle Obama's done believing the myth. And I support her. And I'm going to join her on Monday by not watching the inauguration. Now, we're going to cover it, but I don't plan on actually watching it live. I don't plan on giving them ratings for that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I'm going to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So
I have to hear you. I'm Martin Luther King. I have my Martin Luther King shirt. I'm aware.
Yep. So, just because we missed the beginning here, I will. I just want to go back a little bit to the beginning. So what I was saying in the beginning of this podcast, we were talking a little bit locally. I was saying that I had attended the Union County School Board meeting this week. It was the first time that I attended. I actually spoke and spoke a little bit about my background in cybersecurity. One of the second largest industries that we serve is schools, education, higher education, local governments that have been hacked and compromised. We help them recover. So kind of introduced myself that way, and then basically talked a little bit about how they made a rule change so that they didn't want people in the audience talking to the school board after the meetings, and have the police there to kind of stand in the way. And I kind of brought it up. Well, like, how do you actually interact with these people? You get 3 minutes to talk, and that you just listen. They don't say anything. So I brought it up, and I got pulled aside by the assistant superintendent. He kind of explained that this was something he did, something he worked with the police on. They asked him if the police asked if they wanted to keep people away. He said it wasn't the board. Whatever, yada, yada, yada. He's like, then the board kind of actually came out and said, hey, we can come out to you and whatever. So it was an interesting conversation. Got introduced to the IT person that had in charge of IT. But the main thing I was trying to, what I hope to do is to continue to show my face and along with the others that have continued to be there week after week, month after month. But just accountability is the name of the game, right? So making sure that these people know that they're being held accountable and people are watching, and as interesting things occur, I'm happy to share on our podcast and amplify it in the community so people know these things aren't happening and they're not just doing things in darkness.
Over my 2 years of being chair, I've heard that a lot too, living in Array County, about holding Republican lunatics accountable. And I'm very rare to push back on that with someone who's out in the wild, but since we're just talking regular here for the second time with the same subject, is that really holding them accountable? Because I think we're holding them accountable. Like when we talk about our politicians who are Democrats, we say, well, we're going to hold them accountable because we may not vote for them, but we'll vote for their competition. We're going to say, I'm going to hold you accountable by not voting for you with a vote that I never was going to give you anyway, and you won without me ever voting for you. It's like, I think accountability, we have to really reframe what we mean by accountability, because I think sometimes we play within the parameters they give us, these very narrow parochial parameters, which they intentionally set upon us, right? And now you can't even talk to them afterwards. that's very intentional. So I guess my question is, what does accountability actually look like beyond here? I'll give you 3 minutes. We will not respond to you, and you can't talk to us after your 3 minutes. Goodbye. And we're still going to vote because we have a supermajority as a school board, and we'll still make sure we let Moms for Liberty say whatever. We'll actually take their initiatives into our agenda more so than your own.
Yeah.
That was the question.
Yeah. Well, what was the question? Sorry, I'm just trying to transition. I'm a little bit discombobulated from the sound thing.
This is a weird. This is a sick. The show is sick, folks. The show is sick. We're some sick people. Look, he's hydrated. He's probably, was that Pedialyte?
It needs to. It should be.
It should be. Man, I went through gallons of orange juice. I don't know why I thought that was the best thing to drink. I don't know, but I was going through that thing.
Yeah.
Gallons. But the last thing I wanted to hit on was the Senate confirmation hearings. That has been a ball of lunacy this week. We're not going to get to everybody because each one is equally terrible, equally scary, and equally incompetent. But there is one clip that I thought, Democrats, this is what you should be doing when you're confronted with Republican authoritarianism or Republican fascism. Because remember, fascism always shows up holding a Bible, wrapped in a flag and a smile. But you have to say, no, all that doesn't matter. I know what you stand for. I know what you're going to do. I know who you're going to hurt. I know how you're going to weaponize the military. I just gave away what I was talking about. But
so
our good friend Peter Hegseth of Fox News fame, weekend Fox and Friends news fame, not even the 5 days a week guy, weekend Fox News fame, Harvard, I think, or some Ivy League lawyer. He's all done up, but he's the everyday man. But he is a white nationalist to the bone. He has crusader tattoos. He got drunk and said that we need to kill all Muslims. He thinks women should be in combat. There are allegations of him being domestically violent towards some of his wives or baby mamas or a plague. I don't even know. And all that should be concerning because when you go through these background checks, they want to make sure you don't have things on your background. Not because, yes, they want to make sure you're not a criminal. I mean, before Trump. But they also want to make sure that you can't be exploited by one of our enemies outside the country. But this guy has everything. But Tim Kaine, who could have been our vice president if it wasn't for her emails, I think really did a great job. The Democrats need to take a good look at what Tim Kaine did and bring that thunder for the next 4 years.
Yeah,
right. That's your definition of cleared. You had just fathered a child 2 months before by a woman that was not your wife. I am shocked that you would stand here and say you're completely cleared. Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you were completely cleared? How is that a complete clear?
Senator, her child's name is Gwendolyn Hope Hegseth, and she's a child of God, and she's 7 years old.
And she was, and you cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
Those were false charges.
Well,
it was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared. And I'm so grateful for the marriage I have to this.
No, you've admitted that you had sex at that hotel in October 2017. You said it was consensual, isn't that correct?
Anything.
You've admitted that it was consensual, and you were still married, and you just had a child by another woman.
Again,
how do you explain your judgment?
Completely false charges against me. You fully investigated, and I was completely clear.
You have admitted that you had sex while you were married to wife 2 after you just had fathered a child by wife 3. You've admitted that. Now, if it had been a sexual assault, that would be disqualifying to be Secretary of Defense, wouldn't it?
It was a false claim then, and
Brought the thunder. Brought le thunder, as the French say. I don't speak French. But that is the energy we need. We don't need, my esteemed colleague from Texas across the aisle, my esteemed colleague from Wyoming. Listen, this man is a threat to everyone around him that is not him. This is the type of guy that drinks 3 martinis in the morning, they say. He drinks what they say 9 flat beers before 10 a.m. First of all, who drinks flat beer? I mean, I don't drink, but I'm just saying, but who drinks flat beer? And then who drinks 9 of them before 10 a.m.? Is that what you do, Ron?
No. Yeah. So, with all these picks, I can't, it doesn't even, they're all going through. So
Yeah.
I do think it's good to put it out there and let people see them stumble and see how don't treat them, how you should be treating these people, and stop acting like it's normal. Unfortunately, Republicans have normalized it, and they're gonna get this guy right in through, even though he was tumultuous. It was a problem with him trying to, back in December when he was first announced, or November, and it seemed like he actually was not going to, be able to maintain his nomination.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a few Republicans that got.
I mean, you have Joni Ernst.
Joni Ernst,
who served in the armed forces and was a victim of sexual assault while in the military. She went on some right-wing AM radio knuckle-dragging Republican podcast radio show and was like, "I'm breaking news here, Ducky Greg, that I'm going to be voting for Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth." Like, it's a cult. They're not senators. These folks are in a cult.
Yeah. Well, and again, to the point about background checks, I think a lot of these folks are compromised. For one, they're being blackmailed, but I also think that when you have the money behind it all these things happening behind the scenes, there's donations and money that are going to their campaign. There's people threatening them to say, like, if you don't get in line, we're going to primary you. We're going to do these things. So, and I'm not saying that's what happened necessarily with Joni, but with any of these people, that's where the Republican Party is at. So all those things are being held over their heads to get these picks through. But at the end of the day, Trump's going to have to own it all. You're putting
folks. This ain't gonna undo it, y'all. I mean, we have to deal with it, but we didn't do this.
So you're putting the unqualified DUI hire into place because he's not. I mean, he's not qualified by any means to run one of the biggest organizations with the biggest budgets in the world. Having run a 100-person company and failing several organizations. And so,
I mean, he ran a deficit of 150% with a small, or if he does that with the Pentagon, that means he'll miss by $1 trillion. I mean, it's already $1 trillion as the budget. That means he would miss with an additional $1 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point about the unqualified people, I just want to say, I know we're at time here, but folks keep saying these folks aren't qualified. These folks don't have the skills. These folks don't have the resume, the repertoire, if you will. Again, going back to my deep city French. People, this is not a cabinet being put together. What we're all witnessing is a demolition job. Okay? These are people who are showing up to finish the job that Donald Trump started 8 years ago. Okay? Donald Trump's been around for 10 years. That's crazy. As of June 17th, this year. That's when it came down to escalate, June 17th. But this is a demolition job. You don't have to know how to run the Department of Defense if you want to destroy all the tenets of the institution. You don't have to know how to run the Department of Education like McMahon if you're just going to blow it all up. We are witnessing a demolition job team get put together, almost like some sort of Fast and the Furious crew getting put together. Like, oh, you ready for some family? You ready? Oh yeah, we got Otto over there. He's on the spurts. We got Tony over there. He's on the guns. That's what's happening right now. And then we got Jason Statham coming. Yeah, you ready? Are you ready? That's what's happening right now. So, folks, this is a demolition job. And I just want to be very clear about that because I know folks are like, he's not qualified. It's like, yeah. You don't got it. That's the whole MO of the Republican Party. If the Democrats, the thing about democracy, it takes time. It takes collaboration, it takes negotiation, it takes compromise. But what a fascist does is say, see all that democracy stuff they're talking about? That takes too long. Vote for us. We'll get stuff done real quick. And then the analogy I give people, it's like, we have kids. Like when your kids put the little, Lego set together or the blocks together and they build up and they say, Daddy, look at it. You're like, that's so great. And you have 2 kids, right?
Yep.
And then let's say the other kid comes. The one kid, it took them 6 minutes to put that thing together. And they're proud of it. They're standing there like, yeah, Dad, look at that. I got it now. And the other kid's like, they walk up, boom. Now, both of those are actions. One kid took a lot of time and thinking, and did this block go there, and, structural integrity, and blah, 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 and Spider-Man's going to help hold that up. And the other kid was like, man, fuck that. Bam! That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna. I think that is the purpose of a lot of these folks, and especially Department of Education to get that, and the FBI, Cash Patel, like all these things, and it's unfortunately, it's gonna backfire when you're putting national security at risk. That's gonna backfire, and there's gonna be, like I said, everything that happens is gonna be his to own. In terms of the military, the military budget is insane to begin with, and
we get that too. the same Pentagon that's failed an audit for the past 7 out of the past 8 years. So it's not like they've been like, oh, yeah, we've been up on top of all the money where all this stuff is going. So it's only going to get worse. There'll probably be no audits, and they'll probably still increase the budget, and it'll still go to those government contractors like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, and yes, Mark Zuckerberg, they all have government contracts.
Lockheed, Boeing, all of them, anyone in that military, industrial.
This is how it works, right? The thing is, the corruption is so out in the open, and people are like, why aren't people tearing their hair out? Well, a lot of us are. But the thing is, the people in power are not. The Democrats in power, they're still saying, hey, my good friend, because guess what? They too are being lobbied by those same forces. And it's hard to rally against the 1% when they're funding your next campaign.
Yep. So I'm going to run one more clip. This one is from Pam Bondi. And
pay Bondi.
Yeah. So
said Jack Smith should go to jail. Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without looking at a file.
So you would need a factual predicate to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
Not a summary by you sitting here, yes, sir.
And not a summary by the president either, right?
Absolutely.
So a summary by the president or his desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case.
So, the way that these hearings go, they just kind of beat around the bush. But it's clear that, she's, I think to me, it's clear that she will do whatever Trump tells her. They very carefully do not answer a question that will piss off Trump. Because that would be
training session. Clearly.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that. What is that now? Who said that? Donald Trump said that? I've never heard of him.
She would also not acknowledge that Biden won the election. She accepted the results.
Election? When? 2020? I was dead that year.
I don't know if they talked about her with her whole Trump investigation when she was investigating Trump University. I think you know a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, I don't know if a lot of folks know, but Pam Bondi she was investigating Trump University. Oh yeah, she was investigating until the Trump campaign gave her re-election campaign $25,000, and all of a sudden, oh, there it is. I was investigating. I found what I was looking for, my $25,000 check. Found it. Investigation over. And then she went on to she was a part of his impeachment defense team, and of course now is tapping him for he's
Preparing for tax season could be sort of a hassle. We get it.
Yeah, but it's not going to get any better with these people. They all are garbage. but that's what America unfortunately voted for. And we can't forget this election that just passed was about voter suppression and disinformation, right? That's what it all boils down to. Because these folks are already moving the goalposts. It's not about eggs. It's not about
eggs.
Prices.
What? It's not about gas. It's not about eggs. Not milk.
Rom, it'll shock you, brother. It'll shock you, brother.
Well, there was one more hearing today. The Trump's Treasury pick, and he said the single most important economic issue is maintaining the Trump tax cuts. If you recall, the Trump tax cuts benefited the richest, wealthiest, the elite in America. Did not
corporations. Yeah.
It was pretty much 5% and up. If you're in the bottom 95%, there was no cuts. The 50%, the bottom 50% actually had increases. So I don't see where these. And so it's the single most issue, right? That trickled. I guess it's got to trickle down because that's the only way it's going to get to you.
It's been 40 years, but we're almost there. We got to do it. Yeah.
So not only are you not going to get tax cuts.
Before you play that, I just want to say it is such a ridiculous concept. Like folks, think about how easily moved you are. If I came to you and I said, "Hey, Ron, bro, listen to this proposition. I can make your life easier. I can give you some relief right now, or hear me out, Ron. I can give it to your boss's boss's boss." And it eventually, in some weird way, will come to you. Which way would you choose? You would choose A, but so since they can't sell that, they sell you on the racism, the sexism, the xenophobia, the homophobia, and that's how they whip up votes. And it's the oldest con, as con's been conning. Con.
Yeah, there's I don't have a clip, but there's also there was a study that had talked about this is from 2023, but 6 years later, more evidence shows tax cuts and job acts benefit U.S. business owners and executives, not average workers. So if you're in the C-suite and you're an executive, yeah, you might see a little bit of benefit. You might get that you're still getting crumbs, to be honest, compared to the billionaires, but you might see some of the benefits, but this trickle down is not going to happen. Your eggs aren't going to trickle down in prices. Your milk's not going to trickle down in prices. I guess you'll reap what you sow.
This is the outcome of rugged individualism, and we need to get people out of that lie that we're all independent and we're all homesteaders. We're not. It's called a society for a reason. We all need each other. And as James Baldwin said, all the children of the world, they're all ours. All of them. All of them. They're all ours. And I mean that about, yes, I'm talking about children, but that's all of us too. So if someone's hurt in some other part of the country, that should affect me. I shouldn't be like, well, that ain't me. No, that shouldn't happen if it's the state allowing that to happen. If it's the state underwriting that by siding with big corporations. No, we shouldn't allow that to happen. So we're in this moment. We need folks to be brave because you can't have bravery without the presence of fear or a threat. And this is a moment where we need folks to be courageous and brave because that's the only thing we got left.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I'm going to switch it. I'm going to bring us out, make it a little more lighthearted. Speaking of bravery.
Yeah.
Drake.
Aubrey.
Let's talk a little pop culture, a little bit about Drake.
Oh yeah.
So he's now suing the label. He's doubling down.
A little backstory though.
Yeah, give a backstory.
So Drake, last May, Drake and Kendrick Lamar had. I mean, dare I say, if you didn't hear "Not Like Us," I don't. You must have been under a rock. But Drake, after hearing, him and J. Cole had a song called "First Person Shooter," where J. Cole was just trying to, say, "We're the big three," and
never mind, I'm out.
and Kendrick was like, "The big three, it's just Big Me." And then Drake took that as like, "Hey, like, don't you dare!" And Cole, they had this back and forth. And then Drake started putting out these disses where he was calling for Kendrick to drop something back at him. And at one point, if I'm not mistaken, he said, "Use me as a he ain't gonna drop nothing button." And he kept goading them. And then we had the weekend of, I say, Drake's probably the worst weekend of his life, where we got like 4 or 5 Kendrick tracks, where it was laid out chapter and verse, and it crescendoed and ended with "Not Like Us," and that just took the whole summer.
It's like everyone's just all of a sudden crib walking. Like, I don't know.
I'm not from LA. I was like, hey.
Yeah. Crip walking diss track. You had teens, you had little teenagers, kids, everyone dancing to the anthem of the year. When you said May, I was like, what are you like? It's literally been almost a year, and it's kind of crazy when you look at how long we've been talking about this beef, and it's not even at this point. It's over.
They're usually short.
Yeah, exactly, and it's it's over in the sense that like they're not going back and forth with rap battle. With rap, but it's this ongoing saga of like he's suing, he's taking legal action. It's like, man, that's kind of embarrassing.
First, it was a petition to UMG, basically saying UMG, you guys are promoting the record, and it's not that really popular. It's you guys trying to promote this, and it's payola. And you guys it's pay to play with these DJs. You're paying them to put it on the airwaves. And, I mean, it's so ludicrous when you think about how fire the song was and how it was a cultural moment. And so we knew that was all bullshit, because if that was the case, he would have to talk about himself about payola, because he also benefited from that since 2009. Mm-hmm. So he went through this, and then I guess over the past couple of days, this other news came out, where this is what he's really mad about. Go ahead, what did you say?
Well, it talks about, he basically says that they knew that his lyrics were false and dangerous, and that the label actually chose greed over the safety of the artist, their artist. So,
like Tupac and Biggie? Okay, yeah, that's always been the way, bro.
Yeah, so you got millionaires and talking about corporate greed. That's just poor thing.
Let me ask you: do you think Drake can bounce back?
No, not in this. No, you got to remember where Drake. You got to remember Drake was somebody who, when he dropped on a Friday, like everyone's listening to it. It was getting rotations. He's been in the game for over a decade. I mean, he's going to be around, but he's not going to be that Drake anymore. He can't shift the conversation. So no, he won't never come back from that. Will he still be a popular artist and sell and things like that? Of course, but he doesn't have the respect that he used to.
Let me ask you, how dope of a track does he have to drop? Like how fire of a track, the beat, the lyrics. I mean, it's got to, because he just dropped the Fighting Irish freestyle, right? Where he's now mad at LeBron because LeBron was singing.
I don't even know what that is. See, that's my point. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. That's my point. Like, it's like the Fighting Irish. I mean, come on. I mean, he's got. I think he's got.
I listened to the whole thing. I listened to like 2 seconds, and I was like, man.
I mean, he's got a LeBron tat, right? I think he's got a LeBron tat, and but LeBron's in there singing the Kendrick, word for word, like all the track. But yeah, so no, I don't think he can come back. It is what it is. All good things come to an end. He'll still make money and he'll still have his fan base, but it'll never be like the prolific person that he once was. But yeah, whatever.
The narcissism. I think when that got popped, it was. I think because when we talk about him, and even UMG, they were like, we were not going to infringe upon Kendrick Lamar's First Amendment right to say what he wants, and that's what they said in their counter to this new lawsuit. Oh, and then they said you should probably sue Kendrick then for defamation. They're like, bro, like this is a rap battle that you wanted, and you're suing. And then now you're putting streamers in there and Kais in that.
Suing lawsuits is a culture. It's part of a culture too.
Not our culture. Not like us.
It is
not like us.
But that's that same MO that Trump has. That's just all of like that. They just sue and that's how they.
I'm gonna sue you. I've never in my life. Hey, Bucko. Also personal stuff. No. Not, hey, you. I'm gonna get my. Wait till you can hear from my attorney. That's what Drake just did.
So yeah, he's taken multiple L's in this whole saga, and it's kind of it's a little embarrassing, a little bit cringe. I feel sorry for the guy, but
I don't.
Whatever. So
Fun time. Well, brother, it was great. Any calls to action this week? You're talking about going to meetings. What do you got as you close this out, brother?
Well, definitely like, share, comment, follow, subscribe on any platform you are seeing us on. If you're seeing our clips, if you're seeing the whole video, spread the word. I was at the Union County School Board meeting, and believe it or not, there was about 5 or 6 people who recognized me from the podcast. I knew a couple of them, but I did not know all of them. So I thought that was really cool. Definitely picking up traction.
Celebrity out here, Ron.
Yeah, Union County. Union County celebrity.
You know what it is, ladies. They go in panties after walking the school board.
It's gonna be no. I'm married, but I'm gonna be up there with the mayor. Mayor Monroe. So in popularity contest. I got to be able to call him out soon. So. But yeah, like I said, before we hopped on, we had our Union County Democratic meeting. Hopefully that we'll see more people. I think there was about 50 people on tonight, but my expectation is that number is going to grow. The number of viewers, the people that are looking for some form of peace or something to do with themselves out of anxiety that's about to come. Like I said, we're in a stage of the calm before the storm. The storm is rolling in this week. Is the feeling as these hearings are coming in. They're talking about fires, like all this stuff going on around that. Next week, we're in it. And people are going to start to be affected, and they're going to be looking for somewhere to go, looking for someone to talk to. And I think that we, as in you and me, I think that our neighbors, I think that, Democrats, whoever, need to be prepared to have those conversations with people. And I'm not talking about Republicans and MAGA, like all of a sudden seeing the light. I'm talking about your Democrat neighbor or your moderate neighbor who's like, oh shit, this is actually starting to look pretty bad. What do I do about this? Okay, well, here's your precinct captain. Here's how you can organize. Here's how you can get involved. Here's the groups. Here's the people to talk to. Something's happening in the school. Like, who do I talk to? Those type of things, and make those connections. Because again, we're looking at potentially the end of TikTok. Somebody probably going to buy it. Potentially, hopefully not Elon Musk.
Get on Redbook.
But no, hell no. But it ain't that serious to me. But the consolidation of media, it might actually be harder. And you see the YouTube, the Google CEO, he's going to the inauguration. He's paying into the fund and everything. So the media outlets, these things are available to us today. They might not be available to us tomorrow. The algorithms might be shooting us down and preventing us from getting viewers, and it's going to have to all be word of mouth and spreading the word. So a lot of it is just going to be communicating within your communities and doing things locally, and not just waiting for somebody to save you nationally. There's nothing that's going to save us nationally. Republicans have shown that there's no backbone. There's no line. If you can have Pete Hegseth, what's his name that dropped out? Might as well have stayed in. Matt Gaetz. He would have got confirmed. I have no doubt that they would have confirmed him. He, all of his accusations, they had proof of him. So my point is there's no one that's going to save us. We're going to save ourselves. So again, calm before the storm.
All I got was as we head out today is just find your demand. A lot of folks they're feeling uneasy. To your point, Ron, they feel the storm coming in. They want to talk about the 60,000 votes. What can I do? What can I actively do? Listen. What is your demand of the government? Whoever you are, whoever's listening, what is your demand of the government? If you don't have a demand, then you will find yourself not moving. And as Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without demand. Never has, never will. The full quote. So I implore all of us as we're moving into this next season, have demands of the government. Have demands of yourself of what you will not take. which you will resist, which you will desist, which you will raise your voice. Please. And if not for yourself, then for the future of humanity in this country, whatever that might look like. So I just ask us all to sit and think, what is my demand of the government? This is not just a spectator sport. It's not just, oh, I don't like that. I wish it was. No, I demand to be treated fair. I demand not to have poison in my food, toys, and medicine. I demand to have clean air and water. I demand to have fully funded education. I demand to have police that do not beat the hell out of me just because of the way I look. I demand to have equal hiring in jobs and have integrity and at those jobs and in society. Right? You have to start talking in an almost radical roots perspective in this next phase. So yeah. I wish you all nothing but love, warmth, and justice as we move forward.
All right. Thanks for that outro. Remember, we dig deep to reach higher, and we do get progress through action. All right. Peace out. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
See you next time, bro.